Blessings everyone, I am FoxyRhyno, newest member of an Epic Perspective, and today we're going to be doing our very first movie review of the 2004 cult hit Napoleon Dynamite. In 2004, a movie named Napoleon Dynamite came to theaters. Before that, it was a college film simply known as Palooka, and that was only about a year or two prior, maybe one other. But nonetheless, in 2004, Napoleon Dynamite came to theaters, caught people unexpectedly, did great at the Sundance Film Festival, and from then on, it has developed into a cult classic of something that you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. And that's why we're going to do this review for those who haven't seen it and should definitely give it a shot. In the town of Preston, Idaho, lives Napoleon Dynamite, a guy who just can't stand high school because it gives him trouble like no other. Really no friends, bullies out the wazoo, and the popular kids constantly running it and making life for people like himself terrible. If that wasn't enough, when he goes home, what he has to look forward to, yes, is a pretty cool grandma, but at the same time, a brother who he either gets along with or is hard to get along with due to their extreme differences as well as age difference. Kip Dynamite is usually on the computer all day, chatting with ladies, and dreaming of days he can become the cage fighter he always wanted, even though it looks very unlikely, but hey, who am I to judge? And of course, eating all the flippin' nachos. One day, the grandma decides to take a one-day vacation and go out to the sand dunes. Of course, Napoleon and Kip don't know she's going to the sand dunes, they just know she's visiting someone. She has a little accident and calls the Uncle Rico of the family, that's his name, Uncle Rico, who lives in a van, which looks rather nice, to come babysit Napoleon and Kip. They think that they're fine on their own, but according to him, they're almost like children, according to one of their other relatives, and they need to be babysitted. While Uncle Rico's there, he's going through their supply of steak and milk, which is just one of the many reasons why Napoleon can't seem to get along with this guy who's obsessed with football from his younger days and the year 1982, where he constantly thinks if he was put in the game, he would have went to the championship. During this time, Napoleon meets his first real friend at his school, an exchange student who actually stays, Pedro Sanchez. And they actually develop a friendship rather fast, not just helping one another out, but Napoleon and him share rides on his sweet sledgehammer bike, which leads to Napoleon getting into some shenanigans. And Napoleon makes another friend, a girl photographer named Deb, who tries to sell him boondoggles to try to raise money for college, but then runs off when Kip, the brother, uses a little smack talk watching TV saying, "Your mom goes to college." And so Napoleon tries to take her stuff back to her because she left it on the front step of the door. And of course, Kip gets into some shenanigans involving a dojo ran by Rex Kwon Do, but that's short-lived. During this point, Napoleon is forging a really good friendship with both Deb and Pedro, while Uncle Rico is trying to do a side business selling things that come to him, earning a little bit of extra sweet cash by selling to the people of the local Preston, Idaho area. Getting Kip involved, he gets a little bit of backup, and Kip wants to bring his online girlfriend, LaFonda, out for a few days. Napoleon does exactly what he can to try to save up a little money and try to impress the girl he wants to take to the dance. During this time as well, you find out that Pedro wants to become the next school president. And this is where the movie review is going to have to stop with any spoilers. Will Pedro get that school presidentship? Will things change at the school at all? What about Uncle Rico and his sweet van that he drives up to their house in, constantly pestering Napoleon? What's ever going to happen to him? Well, that's really something that you'll have to find out yourself. Now, time for the pros and cons of Napoleon Dynamite. On one hand, it has beautiful cinematography thanks to Jeremy Kuhn, who his instinct for comedy is has been well known for some years now. He knows where to push the button, where it begins, where it ends, and even his cinematography has been compared to that of a man named William Eggleston. I may not know about Mr. Eggleston, but apparently having your shots compared to his on a good level is a pretty big deal. And I'll admit, Napoleon Dynamite, because of the Preston, Idaho area and the mountains in the background and the farmland, definitely looked very, very beautiful to see. As well as the comedy in the movie, how is that? Is it a comedy film? Yeah, actually it is, but it's a different kind of comedy. It doesn't feel scripted, and it's not trying to be all up in your face saying, ho ho ho, I'm funny, this is where we all break. Napoleon Dynamite takes it in a different direction. Sometimes it's obviously silly, and sometimes it's something you gotta look for. Comedy that sometimes, yes, you think about, but enough comedy where you don't have to think about it. It's subtle, it doesn't try to overdo anything, beautiful cinematography, and a relatable story that you don't find in most Hollywood films today. On the other hand, we know Napoleon has a brother, an uncle, and a grandma, but we don't know anything about his parents. Did they pass away? Did he have to move away from them? Unfortunately, we don't know that. We do know that he's constantly helping out with his grandma's llama, feeding her all the time. But other than that, we don't know about his family other than one aunt that gets mentioned simply once. Another small flaw of the movie, which I'm sure they did this to try to amp up the tension between Napoleon and Uncle Rico, is a couple scenes that are, I don't want to say suggestive, they're just a little, I'm surprised they're there, but nonetheless, payback does happen in more ways than one, and it's flippin' hilarious. Another good note to know is that you may be surprised that this movie did start off on a very low budget, and it did. Just check it out for yourself. So that's not only impressive, but the movie has also sparked up some really awesome catchphrases. Flippin' sweet, flippin' idiot, gosh. These things have become an icon connected to the movie, and it has actually brought forth attention to the Preston, Idaho area. They actually had a Napoleon Dynamite festival some years ago, and anyone who knows about the movie who goes to Preston, I'm sure it almost feels like a pilgrimage. It's your favorite movie, or one of your favorites. It gets filmed there, and you just want to explore the town and some of the eateries that they went to. Well, I guess to add to a possible negative, well, other than you don't know much about the parents and the small scenes, there isn't really any other negatives to say. I wish there would have been a little more explanation on maybe getting to know the characters a little more, like some of their personal lives, but maybe just not too much. But then again, I understand the movie wasn't focusing on that, so I can't really say that's a flaw. If anything, the movie, in my personal opinion, is a genius touch. It's not trying to be too much, it's not trying to be too little. And anything I'm really saying is just small nitpicking because they wanted to focus on what was really important. Telling the story of a guy, another guy, and a girl, and some other people, based off people that the director, Jared Hess, experienced while growing up and decided to throw in some funny things himself. His wife actually helped write the script for the movie, and they did some really good writing. Jeremy Kuhn did really good at the videography, and of course John Heder, the actor who played Napoleon Dynamite, I'm hoping he comes back for a future movie, because that guy knows how to play Napoleon. He was the guy they thought of instantly to have him in there, and honestly, it's just flat out genius. Now I will warn you, this movie is not like any other. You're either going to like it or you're not, only because that it's not the typical movie you're used to seeing and hearing. I personally loved it. Yeah, at first I was wondering from the rumors about it, people constantly compare me to Napoleon Dynamite in high school. I was expecting usual scripted behavior. But I watched the movie, I'm thinking, So I decided to watch it again, and again, and again, and it just became more brilliant each time I watched it. There is a really cool dance scene in it. Where is it and how awesome it is and how it changes the film? You're going to have to find that out for yourself, because that's one of the main reasons the movie is known for being good. Let's just face it, John Heder is a good dancer. Simple as that. On a final note, I just want people to give the movie a shot. It might be your thing, it might not. At least you can say you gave it a try. And I'm hoping that there will be a future release, There was a cartoon, but only for a short amount of episodes, and I don't really want to say it ties in with the universe because there's a few disconnections. But hey, it was funny nonetheless. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. The more you can do for us, the more we can definitely do for you. And all you gotta do is like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to stay tuned next time for whatever Bizarro's got cooked up. And the next time you see me, I'm going to be talking about who I personally want to see in the future title on the Nintendo Switch when they decide to announce it, Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch. Who I want to see and why. I'm FoxyRhyno. Thanks for watching. God bless, Jesus loves, and the Holy Spirit be with you. And this has been my epic perspective.